Good day, my scholars. Welcome to my school channel. My name is Alexandra. In this video, we'll be solving the JAMB CBT past question for the subject Literature in English year 2021. Please stay with us to know when we're and we'll be right back. Welcome back to my school's channel. So right now we'll be solving question 1 to 16. Beginning with question 1, the repetition of a consonant sound in quick succession of sound effect is option A, alliteration, option B, pun, option C, onomatopoeia, option D, assonance. The answer to this question is alliteration. Alliteration is the repetition of sound in two or more neighboring words. We think of examples of alliteration such as Peter Piper pick a peck of pickled pepper. We can see the repetition of the post sound. Also, a phrase used in Femi Osofison's Women of Owu, you mockier than the mockiest maggots in the market of leftover. So you see the repetition of sound. Okay, so when we think of pun, pun is a play on words. Pun is also referred to as the use of humorous words that has meaning. Humorous words or phrases that has several meanings. Onomatopoeia is the formation of a word by the sound associated with it. Assonance is the repetition of vowel sounds in a phrase or in a sentence. So the answer to this question remains option A, alliteration. Question 2. A play in which the act succeeds on another without probable or necessary sequence is dashed. Now the answer to this question is option A, episodic. And according to Aristotle, it defines episodic plots as this. Okay, so what does it mean in a nutshell? Episodic plots are plots that are out of chronological sequence. The sequence of events are not orderly. They are not arranged orderly. Okay, the only thing that links them together is the fact that it happens to the same person or the same character at the same time or at the same place. But the fact remains that whatever it is you expect in the next event or course of action is not what you get to see. So the order of events are usually not chronological. They are not usually orderly. They are out of sequence, out of order. So the answer to this question remains option A, episodic. Question 3. A technique by which a previous scene or action can be recalled in a play to shed light on the present action is. The answer to this question is flashback. Flashback is a technique that goes back to the event in the past to shed more light on the present action. Okay, it's a device used by many writers to shed more light on the present action by going back in the past. So it is set in a time earlier in the course of the main story. So the answer to this question is option B, flashback. Question 4. Criticism is a literary activity which seeks to. The answer to this question is option B, analyze and evaluate a literary work. However tempting option A is, option B is the best answer to this question. Now, in academics, literary works or research work, criticism is not solely to find fault. Okay, when you criticize the work, you evaluate the work, you analyze the work, and then you create a judgment on the merit of the work or the demerit of the work, which could be the fault in it. So the answer to this question is option B. Question 5. A situation where an actor addresses the audience without the other actors hearing him is called dash. The answer to this question is option C, aside. Soliloquy and aside both represents the expression of one's thought. However, soliloquy is directed to oneself, aside is directed to the audience. So option C is the best answer to this question. Question 6. A band of singers and dancers in drama who acts as a link between the play and the audience is the dash. The answer to this question is chorus. Now, chorus acts like narrators in plays or dramas. Okay, chorus give more information or provide more information or commentary to the play, and they are usually not in the lines of the characters or the actors. So the answer to this question is option A, chorus. Do not forget to take practice questions with our simulated JAMB CBT past questions. All you need to do is you click on the link in the description below. It takes you to the Myschool website. There you have to download Myschool mobile app for your Android phones and then Myschool software for your computers and laptops. please go ahead and download and start practicing. Now moving on to question 7. Personnel refers to the dash. Okay, so the answer to this question is option C, the image a character presents. Now in poem or in poetry, the poet is different from the personnel or the poet personnel. So it is called personnel or poet personnel. The poet creates the personnel, the poet creates an image, a personality or a voice that speaks in the poem. Okay, for example, "To His Coy Mistress" by Andrew Marvell. Now it says thus: "If we had but enough time, this coyness, my lady, were no crime. We'll talk and walk, blah, blah, blah." Now, the poet is Andrew, but he has created a voice, a character, an image, which I would describe as lustful and impatient. Okay, if we had enough time. Now, the poet persona is different from the poet. The poet is that character or that image that is created to speak in the poem. So option C is the best answer to this question. I believe you're enjoying this content. If yes, do not forget to hit the like button, click on the subscribe button, and lastly, tap on the bell notification to get informed as soon as we release the next videos. Question 8. The 3 main unities in drama are those of... Option A is the correct answer to this question. They include action, time, and place. So according to Aristotle, he calls them poetics. Okay, so according to him, the unity of action means that the play must focus on a single plot, while the unity of time means that the play must take place over the course of 24 hours. And then the unity of place means that the play must take place in a single location. So option A is the correct answer to this question. Question 9. Poems that are not written in meter or regular line length are called... The answer to this question is free verses. Free verses are open poetry. Open poetry in the sense that they do not follow a regular pattern. They do not follow or employ any consistent rhythmic pattern or meter pattern. So the answer to this question is option C, free verses. Question 10. An elegy is a poem that mourns for the dash. The answer to this question is deceased. Okay, so an elegy is a poem that is written for the dead. Okay, it laments or mourns the dead. Now, deceased is someone that has recently died. But when we talk about bereaved, bereaved is suffering from the death of a loved one. So the answer to this question is option A, deceased. Question 11. When two statements or comparisons are apparently contradictory, we have an example of dash. The answer to this question is paradox. Paradox is when a statement is in itself contradictory. Okay, it is self-contradictory. For example, some of the biggest failures I've ever had were successes. So we have biggest failure being successes. So we can see two contradictory statements there. So when we think of irony, irony is saying the opposite of what you mean. Parallelism is the repetition of same grammatical form. Okay, when we think of contrast, we think of differences or difference. So the answer to this question remains option B, paradox. Question 12. If winter comes, can spring be far behind? Shelley, Ode to the West Wind. The literary device used there is... The answer to this question is a rhetoric. A rhetoric is an art of persuasion. A rhetoric is one that appeals to one's emotion and logic. Now let's take a look at the expression again. If winter comes, can spring be far behind? You can see a rhetorical question here. And then we know that winter is a cold season and spring is a season after or immediately after the winter. And we have the summer, which is the hottest or the warmest season. And then we have the spring coming before summer. So we have the spring in between, the winter as the cold season, the spring, and then the summer. So if winter comes, can spring be far behind? Now this appeals to logic and it is rhetoric. So some of the devices of rhetoric includes rhetorical question itself and some figures of speech. So you can see that this is a rhetorical question, and so option D is the correct answer to this question. Apostrophe is when we address an object as though it is present, and allegory is anything, I mean pictures, characters, plays that can be interpreted to have hidden meaning. A poetical license is a license given to poets, and with this they have the freedom to deviate from the conventional rules of a language in speaking or writing. So the answer to this question remains option D, a rhetoric. Do you have questions you would like to ask? Please feel free to ask your questions by using the link provided in the description below. Please, you click on this link, it takes you to the Myschool website. There you can ask as many questions as possible and solutions will be provided to you within a short period of time. Now moving on to question 13, a melodramatic play is based on. Now, a melodramatic play is based on sensational plots and characters. Melodramatic plays are genres of drama itself, and they deal with sensational topics and romantic topics. So the answer to this question is option C, sensational plots and characters. Do you have better steps, explanation, or solutions to any of those questions? Please feel free to use the comment section below. Indicate the question and the solutions you would like to share. Question 14. Romantic poetry emphasizes option A, the beauty of nature, option B, intimate relationships, option C, the love in human nature, option D, the romance in human aspiration. The answer to this question is option A, the beauty of nature. Now, nature plays a very important role in romantic poetry. Okay, it's the core of romantic poetry. There are other characteristics of romantic poetry, but then the number one is the glorification of nature. So we see writers expressing personal and deep description of their experience with nature, including wild and beautiful qualities about nature. So the answer to this question is option A, the beauty of nature. Question 15. In drama, a conspicuous weakness in the character of the protagonist contributing to his downfall is referred to as. The answer to this question is option B, a tragic flaw. A tragic flaw is a literary term that's used to describe the personality of a main character that leads to his downfall. So option B is the correct answer to this question. Question 16. The woman whose breast I sucked is gone to the worms. Oculi orphan. These lines illustrate the use of option A, sadism, option B, sophism, option C, satire, option D, euphemism. Now the answer to this question is euphemism. Euphemism is a figure of speech in which mild or indirect words are used in place of harsh or unpleasant words. So mild statements are used instead of harsh statements or unpleasant statements. Now let's take a look at the illustration again. The woman whose breast I sucked is gone to the worms. Now, worms are disgusting creatures. They are not interesting image to picture. Okay, they are not something interesting to picture, and so it signifies or symbolizes something really awful, negative, such as death, something worthless, something generally negative. So in this case, we see that the writer is trying to use a mild statement or an indirect word to picture something much more harsh and unpleasant, like death. So the answer to this question remains option D, euphemism. We've come to the end of the section. I believe you enjoyed it. Please do not forget to hit the like button, click on the subscribe button, and lastly, tap on the bell notification to get informed as soon as we release the next videos.